So, welcome to Transform, How to Shift Your Extra Kilos in 2017. Thanks for joining me. A little bit about how it works tonight. Before we start, just make sure the screen size is suitable so that you're nice and comfortable. Make sure your volume's high. Just to remind you, you're in listen-only mode. So if you have any questions, you just need to pop them in the chat box. And right now, just remove any distractions, put your phone away, pop earphones in, and just make sure that you're really comfortable and present. I don't want to waste any of your time tonight. I want to make sure that you get lots of value out of this time that you're investing in yourself. So the more that you can really stay present, comfortable, relaxed, the more this information is going to be useful and valuable for you. So any questions, comments, and feedback, just keep typing them in and we'll get to these a little bit later. So what we're going to cover today is the 3 things that you must understand to shift your extra kilos for good. Anyone can shift them for a week or a few days, but we're talking about sustainable, lasting change. There's 10 elements that I've discovered over the last 14 years of working with people, and really everything comes down to these top 10 categories, which I believe are where people get stuck. And you're going to find where you're stuck in one of these categories. That is my promise tonight. I'm going to ask you 7 powerful questions to help you identify the real missing pieces holding you back. And this is even if you feel like you've tried everything. So I've worked with a lot of people, thousands of people since 2003, and I've come up with really what are the main things that hold people back, and I'm going to be sharing these with you. So grab a pen and a notebook so you can make lots of notes. The way to get the most out of this webinar is to take lots of notes because you won't remember everything. And also I'm going to be applying a lot of high-level principles. This is quite an advanced class. It's a master class. I know that you're smart and I know that you've tried other things. So we're going to dig deep, and in order to personalize it for you, you really need to write down your own answers. And then finally, I'm going through the 7 C's, which is all about how to use the power of your mind to create the physical changes that you want. And the reason the mind is so powerful is that everything is started with our thinking. So what I've discovered working with people physically as a personal trainer is that it's actually always about the mindset. So let's get stuck into it and make sure that you're comfortable and you've got pen and paper. As a bonus for attending, I also have a quiz for you. And this quiz I've developed over quite a long time. There's 50 questions that cover 10 areas of your life. It takes less than 5 minutes and it shows you the exact areas for you to focus on. So I'll tell you about how to get that at the end of the webinar. So who am I? For those of you who don't know me, I'm a coach and a speaker. I've been a personal trainer since 2003, and about 5 years ago I started to get really interested in the mindset aspect of health and fitness and body transformation, and particularly in weight loss as well. So I have a diploma of nutrition and I'm also a lecturer in fitness. But what I mainly do now is coaching, and I do this one-on-one, I do this in person and I do it online. And I've been an online personal trainer specialising in body transformation for the last 8 years. So when I left New Zealand, I had over 40 clients, and a lot of them stayed on with me as a client, as coaching and Skype sessions, and also emails. So that's mainly what I do now. I want to talk a little bit about some scary statistics. In Australia, over 70% of women are unhappy with some aspect of their body. And that's quite a conservative figure as well. I've read other surveys, other research stating that it's over 90%. And I know some of you are actually overseas, so I'm sure these are pretty worldwide stats as well. Over 95% of people who lose weight by dieting alone gain it back plus more. So not only the weight they've lost, but they put more back on, and that's most people. So we can't just do the diet alone, but it's not just adding exercise either. So much more than that. We know that weight loss is not just calories in, calories out. Otherwise, that would be simple. There's so many other factors that come into it, and there's 10 that I believe are the main ones, and I'm going to share those with you now. So what's the real cause? Like, why are you overweight? Like, I want to dive straight into it and just ask some hard questions. Like, even if you're not overweight, even if you've just got like 1 or 2 kilos to lose, like, why is that? What is it about, weight loss that you find challenging? Like, let's explore the truth. Why are you weighing more than you want to? So write that down if you haven't already. You know, your body is not letting go of fat for some reason. And there are a lot of things this depends on. It's complex. It's important to know biochemically, like, what is going on, like what certain macros and micros are doing in your body, to understand it physically, and also hormonally, like understanding what's really going on in your body. And the work that I do is helping my clients eat in a way that draws from their body fat stores. But this is tricky because it's not just eating less. There's more to it than that. So I want to go through the 3 main things that I have found with working with these people, the 3 main things that really drive our behavior. So the first one is our identity. I call these the 3 I's. They're very similar, but there's, you know, just subtle differences. So I want to talk about identity by just sharing a little bit about my journey. So in 1995, I did aerobics and I did competitions, and this really got me into this competing kind of mindset. It got me fit, got me healthy. So I think I was 16 in this photo, and that was really where it started. I used to go home from school and do aerobics in my lounge room. I did aerobics Oz style. My mum used to video it for me, and it really got me into the health and fitness world. But after that, I joined corporate life and started partying a little bit too much. And this was kind of a typical weekend for me. This photo's taken in Amsterdam, actually. But yeah, this was a very normal kind of weekend. Lots of drinking, too much food, and I, put on weight and kind of lost that fit, healthy lifestyle that I had when I was a teenager. And that lasted for quite a few years. I played in a rock band, and yeah, I just was very much unhappy with my weight. But then in 2002, I came across this awesome thing called Body for Life. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's quite old school, but I saw these photos of these 12-week transformations, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them online. There's probably thousands. If you Google Body for Life, you'll see all these 12-week transformations. And I used to sit at my desk at work and look at these transformations going, oh my gosh, like, this is actually possible. Like, these people actually achieve these results. And I'd look at their faces going, that is the same person. Oh my goodness. And so I did 4 challenges. And I really loved the concept of 12 weeks because it's 3 lots of 4 weeks, and it's very doable and manageable, and you change your programs and you take photos every 4 weeks. And I just got really, really into it and loved it. And because of that, I decided that this was me. This is what I want to help people do. And so in 2003, I became a personal trainer. And I started working with people to help them get similar results. And I love doing 12-week challenges. That's kind of what I've always done. It's just been my thing. I really love it. The reason I'm talking about this when it comes to identity is that when I wanted to kind of go a little bit to the next level and really understand what it's like to push my body to the absolute limits and really see what's possible with a physical transformation, I started figure competing in 2006, and I did 10 competitions. I didn't intend to. It's kind of like having a tattoo. You just want to do more and more and more once you've done your first one. But the mindset that I had from figure competing is really what has helped me transform not only my life but other people's, because the identity, the way I saw myself was that I was a winner. I was going to win. And my coach would always say to me, Kat, it's not, you're not going to win unless you have the mindset of a winner, unless you think that you are a winner. So I want to ask you about your identity. Like, how do you see yourself? Because the way you see yourself is basically how you're going to live out the physical manifestation of your mindset. Some of the clients that I've worked with, I just want to show you some of their transformations and just what is possible. This is Janine. She was over 120 kilos. Now she's back into a healthy weight. Tracy, she lost 27 kilos. That took her just about a year to lose 27. The good thing about it is that I still keep in touch with Tracy. She lives in the UK, and she's still this size. She's kept it. This is Russell. This took him 6 months and he's kept the results as well. So it's not just about a before and after for 12 weeks. It's about lasting change, and that comes from our identity of seeing ourselves as a different person and the person that we want to be, and starting to create the mindset of the person that we want to be before we are that person. This is Kirsty. Again, I worked with her overseas, but she has kept her results and she still trains every day. She came to me, she'd never been to the gym, and this was about 7 years ago now. So I've seen her recently. She's still kept up her results. She still loves to exercise and eat well. So when it comes to identity, it's really important to ask yourself how you see yourself. And you might want to write this down, because how you see yourself is how you're going to act. If you see yourself as an overweight person, you'll often act like an overweight person. But if you see yourself as someone who's committed to health and fitness no matter what, then that is what you'll act from. And I love this saying, this quote by Bill Bauman: if you have a body, you're an athlete. And it kind of cuts all the exclusivity out of it. It's not like, oh, that's just for certain people that go to boot camp or go to M45 or go to the gym. Everyone can be an athlete. Everyone can see themselves and have that identity as a fit person, because we all have that ability to become a fit, healthy person. It's exciting. It's good news. So I just want you to think about, who do you think you are? Sounds like such a simple question, but have a look at your results, and there is your answer. Your results is who you think you are right now. Sorry, one moment. So write that down if you haven't already. The second I is your image. And again, similar to identity, when you think of yourself, do you see yourself as the person that you want to be? Do you tell yourself, I am a strong person because I go to the gym? I am a fit person because I go for walks regularly. And a lot of people talk about I am statements, but the important thing with an I am statement is actually to add because otherwise we can say, I'm amazing, I'm this, I'm that, but we need to give our brain proof to show that it's true. So instead of saying I'm skinny, if you know that you're not, you can say things like, I'm capable because I prove it to myself. I am going up that hill because I have legs. And so with your I am statements, really powerful when it comes to our image, our self-image, and the way we show up in the world, the way we honor our commitments to ourselves, is really to show our brain proof. I am because. So add that little piece to your I am statements. It makes a world of difference. See, our self-image will never outperform our self-image. If we have an image of ourselves as lying on the couch, eating chips and watching TV, then we'll just keep living that out, because it's the behaviors, the patterns. We need to start seeing ourselves as the person that we want to be in the future. And then the third, there's a question for you. How do you honestly see yourself? It's really important to just do an honest, truthful check-in. How do you see yourself right now? There might be positive things, there might be negative things, but just own it. Just be truthful. Just write that down. And then the third I is inspiration. Now there's two questions here that are really simple, but they're so important to understand. Who are you inspiring? Because if our image, our self-image and our identity is one of a role model, then we are so much more likely to take the steps that we need to do to get the result we want to get. So for example, I think of when I was competing, I would go into the gym and people would ask me all the time, how's your comp prep going? How's your diet? How's your training? And so I was inspiring people at my gym. I've never been busier as when I was competing, because people could see that I was dropping weight and they could see how happy I was and they could see the difference that it was making. And because I was inspiring people, it kept me going. It wasn't those, that extra kilo I wanted to lose that made me do those hard reps, that made me get up at 5 a.m. and run, that made me, say no to yummy food. It was being a role model. The identity stuff is so powerful. Once you have that identity, you will just make the right choices almost by default, because you'll look at things and be like, that's not my goal. I don't want that. You don't even want it. You just filter it out. If you think, like, we've got millions of bits of information coming at us every second, and we filter stuff out based on our beliefs. So I would walk past pubs, I would walk past bakeries, and I would just be like, not my goal, not my goal. And I wouldn't even think about it because it didn't line up with the identity. And I called myself, I'm a figure competitor. And as soon as I started naming that and owning that self-image, all of the other things didn't taste so good, didn't smell so good, weren't appealing at all. And it's almost like it became easy. Competing was one of the hardest and the easiest things I've ever done, because I had boundaries, I had guidelines. When I went to a party, those things just didn't line up with the image I had of myself. So I just wouldn't eat them, plus people were watching. And all the clients that I've worked with who have lost weight and kept it off, they've said the same thing. They've said, I do it for my kids. All the successful people that I've worked with have had someone that they're inspiring, and they also had an inspiration. So your inspiration is your vision. It's what you're aspiring to be. It's what you're inspired to be. So write that down and really think about these questions in a deep way. It's not just a surface answer. Your answers are actually when we dig deep below the surface, when we actually start tapping into our unconscious mind, that's when we start to get the answers. So those are the 3 I's. Now I'm going to move on to the top 10 elements for results that last. Now there's a lot of stuff here. I'm not going to go fully into every single one of the 10, but here they are. So I'm going to cover the top 3, because I believe the top 3, the first 3, those are really the areas that I work mostly with people on, but everything comes into play. It's not one thing, it's not calories in, calories out, it's not eat less, move more. It's a synergy of things coming together. So it's nutrition, it's exercise, psychology, which is why I studied the mind and studied NLP. It's all about behavior change and our programs and our patterns. It's about our mindset. It's about lifestyle, emotions, especially us women. We all have emotions, but we tend to express them a little bit more in how we eat. It's hormones. Often when things aren't happening, it's to do with our hormones. I'm going to talk a bit about that. Having support from other people, having a like-minded peer group, expertise, analysis, which is also another word for like measuring and tracking. This is an area that a lot of people fall down in. They wonder why they're not getting a result. They're not analyzing, they're not measuring. And then lastly, it's uniqueness, or another way to put it is personalizing it. So if you're taking notes, these are the top 10. Now, one of these areas is probably where your sticking point is right now. And so hopefully you'll be able to identify where they are as I go through these. So I'm going to start with nutrition, and nutrition is a big one. There's all these stats thrown around like it's 80% nutrition, it's 70% nutrition. No one really knows for sure, but nutrition, we can all agree, is a major part when it comes to weight loss. It's not just what we're eating, it's how we're eating. It's the types of foods that we're eating. It's not just the quantity, but there's more to it. So I've got 5 points here. If you're taking notes, write these down. Number 1 is that the quality of your fuel, meaning your food, affects the quality of your results. So if you're eating quality food, then you're more likely to have quality results. I know it sounds simplistic, but this is the reality. If we're sticking to good calories, and we're still sticking to our points and our portion sizes, but we're eating the wrong foods, our bodies process every food differently. The higher quality it is, the more likely our bodies is going to get what it needs out of our food, particularly if we're eating fresh, natural, unprocessed food. Then we're actually going to look better. Our skin's going to look better. Our hair's going to look nicer. We're going to have more energy to train hard. So there's so many factors that come into it when it comes to the quality of our food. The next thing is portion sizes. So a lot of people are eating healthy, but they're just eating too much, and they're also not tracking exactly what it is that is going in their mouth. So they think that they're eating quite well, and they can't understand why they're not losing weight, but they're actually eating too much. And often people are eating too much healthy food because it's a bit of a conundrum. We think, oh, it's good for me, it's a superfood, it's a good fat, it's a good protein, it's a good carb. But if we're eating too much of it, no matter how healthy it is, we still aren't going to lose weight. The only reason that we have extra kilos is because we're taking in more than we're putting out. And when it comes down to the actual size of the meal, things like paleo and healthy, good fats are often tripping people up. Things like protein balls and healthy desserts and protein bars, because they're just too much food. And we tend to just be surrounded by so much food in our society. The next one is the macro and the micronutrients. So macro is your protein, carb, and fat. They're the only things that give us calories, except for alcohol. For every gram of carbohydrate we eat, it's 4 calories. Same with protein, 4 calories. For every gram of fat we eat, it's 9 calories. So we've really got to be careful with the fats. Yes, we need enough good fats, but often we're just overeating them because we've been told how good they are for us, and they are, but we need to be measuring. We need to be keeping an eye on things. I'm not saying weigh everything you eat, but this is often an area where people get tripped up. The other thing is often people are eating the wrong macronutrient percentages. So with all my clients, I work out the exact percentage of protein, percentage of carb, percentage of fat that they should be eating. And there's at least 20 factors that go into the percentages. So it's how much you weigh, when's your goal, your body type. So if you're endomorph, ectomorph, or mesomorph, I actually program different macronutrients. So for example, if you are more of an endomorph, I typically go lower on the carbs, meaning you store more fat. So, and also how often you train. If you're doing a lot more weight training, you need more protein. If you're doing a lot of cardio, you might need some more carbohydrate. So this is an area that trips a lot of people up. The next thing is satisfaction and enjoyment. You know, we're not going to last on an eating plan, on a healthy eating plan, unless we enjoy it, unless we actually really are satisfied after all of our meals. And this is a recipe that I've got. It's a vanilla mousse. I make healthy chocolate bread. I make banana cake, all using, sugar-free flour, no sugar, but using other ingredients so you can really feel satisfied, have yummy food, and after every meal and snack, you're like, that was yum. I don't need sugar after that. I don't need a coffee. I don't need to go and find something else because I'm so satisfied and I enjoyed it. So just ask yourself, how much are you really enjoying your healthy meals? And if you think of it as 2 circles, and in one of them it's healthy, and in the other one it's tasty. And if you put those circles together, in the middle, there's a sweet spot where there's a whole heap of food that's healthy and tasty. So write a list of those things and make those the majority of what you're eating. Then the last one in nutrition is bag foods. Bag foods, B-A-G. So I'm going to go through what bag foods are. These are the ones you want to avoid. Foods that are bloating. So if you know that you get bloated, that's what you want to avoid, because it's showing that you're inflamed. Your body gets inflamed, and it means that's not a good food for you if you're bloated. So any food that's bloating, you need to either keep a log, keep a diary, or you need to just eliminate some foods for a while and see if your bloating stops. The second one is addictive. So any foods that are addictive, which is sugar, oops, sorry, I'll just fix that. Sugary foods, sugar and flour are the most addictive because they're stripped of nutrients and they're just in very concentrated forms that our bodies aren't designed to eat. And the last one is guilt-producing food. So do you have any food that actually makes you feel guilty? Like, are there foods that you just can't stop eating? usually those are the ones that you want to just stay away from. You don't want to feel guilty because you're eating. You want to enjoy your meals, no guilt. So that's the top 5 nutrition tips. I'm going to move on to exercise now. So with exercise, I've also got 5 tips for your exercise program, your exercise plan. Number 1, of course, it has to be enjoyable. Otherwise, you won't keep it up. So is the exercise you're doing, are you enjoying it? Have you mixed it up lately? Is it fun? Is there variety? Do you wake up and want to go and do it? There are days where, of course, you're not going to want to do it. I have days where I just can't be bothered, but I do it anyway because of that identity, because I've made promises to myself that I want to honor and commit to, because that gives me the self-image that is so important. But there are days, of course, I don't want to do it. But the more enjoyable it is, like for example, I love boxing. And if I haven't boxed lately, I have to book a boxing session with a trainer because I just love it. I love F45. I love running outside. Make sure it's enjoyable. The second thing is simple. You don't want a really complex, complicated plan. You want it to be simple. If you've got a program, you want to have photos to follow, instructions to follow. You want to make it as easy as you can for your brain. The third thing is that it has to be progressive. And I would say this is probably the top thing that stalls weight loss and plateaus when it comes to exercise, is that people don't change their program often enough. They go for months and months with the same kind of program, the same cardio, the same old weight training. It not only has to go up in intensity, but there's a whole lot of other measures which I'll go through that need to keep changing regularly for you to change. We're adaptive machines. Our bodies are designed to adapt. And so we have to keep progressing our program. The program should be challenging, but it should be doable. Whenever I'm training people, I'm saying, is it challenging, but you can do it? That is the sweet spot. You want it to be hard. You want it to feel like, oh, that was not easy. That was not so fun in those last reps, but it was manageable. Those are the two key things. And then lastly, you want it to cover all bases. And I'm going to go through what those bases are now. So when it comes to progressive resistance training, you want it to have a progressive intensity. So this comes down to the reps, the sets, and the rest. And it needs to be tailored to your goal. So for example, strength training is 1 to 6 reps. Muscle growth is 6 to 12 reps, and 15 plus is muscle endurance. The longer the rest period, the more you need to go heavy and hard. If you're going more for weight loss, then you shorten your rest between your sets. The tempos need to be appropriate. So typically for muscle gain, it's 3 seconds down, 1 second up. It's usually faster if you're just wanting muscle endurance fat loss. We want to bring in overload methods to just keep mixing things up, because there's only so many exercises we can do. So you can bring in things that overload your muscles. There's a whole heap of things that you can do, like pyramids, drop sets, supersets. You can Google overload methods and you'll come up with a whole heap of them. We want to move from isolated work to compound work. Isolated is when you're just doing one muscle with one joint. A compound movement is where you're using 2 joints and they're going to burn a whole lot more calories. So if you look at your training program, if there's a whole lot of isolated movements like just crunches, tricep push down, bicep curls, you really want to progress up to multi-joint exercises. And you also want to progress from machines up to free weights because they burn more calories. So compound free weight exercises are going to burn more calories. For weight loss, you need to be training with resistance at least 2 times a week because we need to get your metabolism up. Weight training, putting muscle on your body increases your metabolism. So it's a must for weight training. A lot of people make the mistake of just doing cardio. You don't want to just do cardio. You'll just end up losing muscle. We cannot afford to lose muscle. So make sure you've got resistance training in your plan. And then you want to tailor it to either strength, growth, or endurance. Okay, cardio fitness. You want to incorporate, ideally, if you've been training for a while, steady state, meaning your heart rate's the same throughout the workout or relatively the same, as well as interval training where your heart rate goes up and down. Most people that I work with, I prescribe 2 days of interval training a week where it's high intensity intervals such as stair sprints. It might be a Tabata style workout with high intensity plyometric type stuff and longer rests. And then also the rest of the time is just fat burning. You want to improve your ratios. So if you're running, you're working out your time to intensity or time to distance, and you're looking to reduce your resting heart rate. So you can take your resting heart rate and it shows how fit you are. You can go online and it shows you like what the norms are for your resting heart rate. And you want to measure that about every month just to make sure that you're getting fitter because your resting heart rate's coming down. And then mobility and flexibility. So this is where a lot of people don't put any effort. They do their cardio and then they just jump in the shower, or they do their weights and head off out the gym. But we need to put in some postural work, some range of motion work, especially if you're sitting down a lot. This helps with injury prevention. It helps with imbalances in your body. Dynamic stretching, and then after your workout, and only after your workout, doing static stretching. So before the workout, dynamic; after the workout, static, meaning you hold it. That's when you'll get the most benefit from your stretching. And then also soft tissue work like foam rolling. This is really important, especially if you're sitting or standing all day, to really work on those tight areas. So those are the 3 areas where you cover all bases: the mobility, flexibility, the cardio, and resistance. So write that down if you're not covering them all. Now we're going to come to the psychology, which I find is the most interesting part. And we've got an incredible brain. So I want to show you a few things on how you can tap into your powerful mind. So number 1, if you're writing these down, these are the 7 C's, 7 things to look at when it comes to your psychology. So number 1, and if you're working through the Transform worksheet, which you would have been emailed when you registered, these questions are in the worksheet. We're going to go through those now. So the first thing to look at is getting clarity around your goal. Crystal clear, what is it that you want? If I was to ask you right now to just describe to me in 1 sentence, what do you want? What exactly do you want? Could you answer that question? So clarity is super important, to know what you want. It doesn't mean you have to know how to get there, but just knowing what you want is the first step. The question for that is specifically, what do you really want? A lot of people say to me when they fill out a questionnaire, when they come on as an online client, I get them to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 what they want. And a lot of people put 10 for everything. They want to be more flexible. They want to improve their posture. They want to be stronger, be fitter. But really we need to, and that's great, like those things will come. But what is it, that one thing, if you could just have one, get that clarity around what it is. The second thing is to have a compelling reason. Why do you want that? Like, why do you really, really want that? Like, put your hand on your heart right now and ask yourself, like, really, why do you want that? Tap into your heart, your passion, not just what logic says, not what you think you should want, but really what you want. And the question for that is, what do you really want? It's actually meant to say, why do you really want that? That's a typo. Why do you really want that? Like, be really, really honest with yourself. And what I'd really love you to do right now, because I know that I've talked a lot, is I'd love you to just pop it into the chat box. I'd like you to put what you want and why you really want it, because those 2 things, so simple, but a lot of people can't clearly articulate it and they don't attract it. So I want you to write what you want and why you really want it. So write that in the chat box now. I'd love to interact a little bit with you, because otherwise it's a monologue. So who's going to be brave and be first? Someone's been brave and put a big blue line there. If you put a blue line, if you can grab your eraser and just undo that, because otherwise it will stay on there for the whole webinar, which is totally cool. We don't mind your blue line. Oh, that was fast. Thank you. So pop it in the chat box. I'm going to keep moving, but please pop your answers in there. Thank you, Claire. Good health, and to be here for as long as possible for your daughter. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Freedom and energy. Awesome. Who else wants freedom and energy? Who wants a bit more energy? I think we could all do with more energy in our lives. Thanks for sharing. Please continue to pop your answers in the box because we'd love to know. Strong, healthy, and tone. Thanks, Elisa. Beautiful. The third thing, and this is a really important one, is there is a competing desire. This is where we have to tap into our unconscious mind because often this isn't on the surface. So a lot of you know exactly what you want. Sandra says to be full of energy, healthy and fit. I would love that body to be mine to worship and honor. Beautiful. More confidence. So good. So a lot of you are quite clear on what you want. I think the clarity on how you will measure that is really important as well. Like how you know when you've got that. The competing desire is the tricky part. What is in the way? What is competing for that thing? Because at the moment, there's something else. If you haven't got the result that you want yet, there's something else which is taking its place. And there's probably quite a lot of things taking its place. For most of us, there are other things that are important, and it's our values. We talk about the hierarchy of our values. If your family is more important to you than your health, you'll always choose to do things with your family instead of doing health. And what we need to figure out is how can you have both? How can you link your compelling reason being you want to be fit for your family and have time with your family with health so that you can actually see that it's going to get you the result that you want. So here's some examples when it comes to competing desire, because I know this is a little bit tricky to come up with. So your number one competing desire, it could be your social life. Like for me, that's always been my competing desire, is my social life and my work actually, where I love going out for drinks. It's something I love to do, is go out with my friends, go to cafes. So it competes with my desire to have a fit, lean, healthy body. Work sometimes gets in the way where I want to keep working. I want to produce the best work I possibly can. And sometimes I put that before my health choices. Like for example, today I was working on my webinar all day and kind of forgot to eat, which I don't normally do, but often I'll get so caught up in work that I'll forget to kind of make a healthy salad, and then suddenly I'll have to grab a protein bar or something. It could be relationships, it could be certain food or drink. So write that down. The fourth one is commitment, and this is a huge one because if we don't honour our commitments to ourselves, then those three I's, our identity, our image, and our inspiration, are going to suffer. And that's when everything can go downhill. We need to really protect our identity, because if we're willing to be committed to do what it takes to get our result, then we'll be proud of ourselves and we'll increase our confidence in our self-image. If you want to trust yourself more, honour your commitments to yourself. And the best way to do this is make a small commitment and honour it. And then make another small commitment and honour it. And you'll start to trust yourself more and more. A lot of people don't set goals because they don't trust themselves to do it. They actually don't think they're going to follow through because they've felt like they've failed so much in the past. So you don't want to start with too big a commitment if you don't have a compelling enough reason to take action and follow through, because that will just really take a hit to your image and your identity. So when it comes to commitment, the question here is, are you 100% committed to achieving your goal? And there's no right or wrong answer, but I just want you to put why or why not. And whatever your answer is there, fill it out as we go. Whatever you've put, are you happy with your reason? Really powerful question. So if someone said, yep, I'm 100% committed to my goal. Why? Because I want to fit my clothes and feel hot. Are you happy with your reason? Yeah. Other people might think, oh, that's a little bit shallow. That's a bit, all about what you look like. But are you happy with your reason? That's all that matters. No one has to see these answers. You might put, because I just want to be the best mum I can be. I want to be the best daughter I can be, the best colleague I can be. Are you happy with your reason? If you put that you're not 100% committed to achieving your goal, just put why. Why aren't you? And are you happy with that reason? If you put, oh, I just can't be bothered, are you happy with that reason? Are you really happy with what you've written? Number 5 is confusion. And I see this a lot when people don't know what to do next. They don't know what the right next step is. And this often comes across as overwhelm and doubt. They've read all this stuff on the internet and a lot of it's conflicting. They don't know whether to eat more carbs or less fat, or whether coconut's okay, or, you know, there's so many conflicting things on the internet. So this is a real problem. So I want you to think about, what do you need to know in order to overcome confusion? What do you need to know in order to overcome confusion? It's a little bit of a tricky question. So I'm going to go through some examples. Maybe you need to know exactly how many carbs, protein, and fat grams you need. Imagine if that was what's confusing you and you could learn that and overcome it. Maybe you need to know exactly what type of exercise suits your body type. Maybe you're confused about the emotional eating aspect and your cravings. Or maybe you need to know that you can do it, that it is possible for you. It's not about other people and what they've achieved, but that you can do it. Maybe you need to know that. Maybe you need to build that strength inside yourself. Maybe for you, you need to know that it's going to be fun, that it's not going to be boring. Remember, our brain rejects anything that's boring, complicated, fearful, overwhelming. Our brain runs from those things. So what if you can show your brain this is going to be fun, not restrictive, not boring, not cutting things out, adding to my life? What if you know that you're going to be so happy that you did it and that it was worth it? Do you need to know that? If so, that's what you need to start reinforcing. That's the pattern, the new neural pathway that you need to create in your brain. Start setting up that new pathway. I can do this. I can do this. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be so proud of myself. This is worth it. Every bit of pain is worth it. Every time I say no to that and say yes to that, it's worth it. So write it down for you. Number 6C is challenges. Now, if you imagine this mountain on the left is where you are at the moment, the mountain on the right is where you want to be, and there's this big, huge mountain in the way. It's just a metaphor, but what is your challenge? What is your mountain that you have to overcome? Because you can't go under, round, you have to go over that challenge, whatever it is. There's some challenges that you have to overcome. That's going to give you strength and resilience. Do you know resilience is the number one trait of successful people? Grit, determination, that ability to overcome. And you cannot have victory unless you overcome things, unless you battle things that you've been battling and you win. You know, a lot of people are waiting for it to be easy, for it to just, you know, to take a magic pill, to somehow get rid of their fat without going through the challenge. It is going to be challenging, and any program that tells you that it's just going to be simple and easy, it's not true. It is challenging, but identifying the challenges that you need to is going to help you just to be real and start creating your action plan. So the question is, what are some of the challenges? And I put some examples of the challenges. Whoops. Actually, I haven't put the slide on it, but some examples are setting up new habits. You know, maybe that's a challenge, some bad habits. Maybe getting in the mindset where you want it so badly and you'll do whatever it takes to get it. Maybe your challenge is time or money or lack of energy, lack of inspiration. Write down your challenges, and then we're going to talk about how to overcome them. And this comes to the last C, which is change. You've got a big rock that you've got to push over. And I want you to think about what it is that you need to change. Because if you keep going the way you're going, you'll stay the same. In fact, our metabolisms are slowing down. So if we don't do something, we're actually going backwards. So let me help you with a few questions. The first question is, what do you need more of? What do you need more of? So here's some examples when it comes to, remember, we're still talking about psychology. So maybe you need to pay more attention to yourself. Like, pay attention to that still small voice that's telling you what to eat, what not to eat. Maybe you need to be more present. Maybe you need to listen to your body more. What about mindfulness? When you eat, do you sit and enjoy it and eat slowly and look at your food? Or do you do it while you're flicking through your phone or still working on your laptop? Because often if we eat mindlessly, we overeat and we want more food. I've done it before. I've down a whole bowl of food and then been like, did I even eat that? I barely even noticed that I did that because I was reading or doing something else. You watch people in the movies mindlessly chowing through a massive box of popcorn. They don't have that mindfulness because they're distracted. Do you need more patience with yourself? Do you need more determination? Or is it your self-talk? Do you need to talk more kindly to yourself? Maybe you need to put some affirmations up in your space. Have you got visuals around your environment of everything that you need? And the next question is, what do you need less of? Is it busyness? Is it beating yourself up? What about reacting rather than responding? So I'm going to react to that angry situation by eating rather than processing that emotion and feeling that emotion instead of burying it with food. Maybe you need that. Avoiding yourself. A lot of people don't look in the mirror. They don't weigh themselves. They don't face the facts. They avoid themselves. They blame themselves or other people. Maybe it's making excuses. You don't have to put this in the box. It's very private. I know it's quite deep stuff. And a lot of people say, oh, it's very heavy. Well, there's a lot of stuff out there telling you what to eat and how to train. I want to talk about the real stuff in the way. Maybe it's ignoring yourself. So just be honest and real there. So those are the three main, this is meant to say number 4, typo again. This is meant to say lifestyle. So this is the 4th element, and I'm going to just whiz through these last ones because I haven't been able to unpack them all. I've just unpacked those first 3. But lifestyle, there's 5 points here. Sleep, number 1. In my questionnaire, I always ask people how they sleep, because if you're not sleeping enough, you're not going to lose weight. So sleep is a factor. Write that down under lifestyle, sleep. Number 2, fun. Do you know most of us eat junk food because we don't have enough fun in our life? It's the only fun part of our day. So are you doing hobbies? Are you doing things that make your heart happy? Are you smiling and laughing and excited every day? Because that's the state that we can have. We can have that. Are you having enough fun? Otherwise, you will turn to food and alcohol. Are you having enough holidays, time away, travel? And do you have strategies when you're away from home and out of your routine to not put on a whole heap of weight? I've just been bombarded with so many people asking for help in January after December because they didn't have a strategy for their holiday and they've put on weight. The 4th thing is personal growth, and I've put this under lifestyle because if we don't feel like we're growing, if we feel stagnant, if we feel like we're just stuck in our routine and we're not learning and we're not improving ourselves, it's actually a human need to want to grow. So are you investing time and energy and money into your personal growth? And then the 5th one is, do you have stress management strategies in place? Are you journaling? Are you meditating? Are you doing yoga? Are you doing those things that help you through the stress? Because mostly we get cravings because we don't have enough fun, we're too stressed, we don't get enough sleep. If all of those things are taken care of in your lifestyle, you watch your eating, it will change almost by default. It's like magic. It's seriously cool. I've seen this happen to myself and so many other people. Next, emotions, emotional eating, which I've covered a little bit about. But what we want to look at here is, how are you managing your emotions? Are you feeling your emotions, or are you burying them with food? Do you have strategies in place for emotional eating? Do you have strategies in place for releasing negative emotions? Because if you don't, then you push them down and you explode. And you can work these through. I think the best way to do it is through NLP. And if you want an NLP session, I'll give you an opportunity to do that at the end. But your emotions, we do everything based on how we feel. So it's a really important area to look at. Are you able to effortlessly manage your emotions? Do you eat for fuel or for emotional reasons? A lot of these questions are actually in the quiz that I'm going to give you, so you can go through and really look at each of these areas. Next, hormones. Hormones are so important when it comes to weight loss. How do you explain how some people lose weight and others don't on the same calories? The answer is hormones. So many things affect our hormones. I can't go into them all tonight, but there's 5 hormones that I focus on, and they're really important when it comes to weight loss. If you don't get those right, that could be the one thing holding you back. Next, support. Do you have support? Do you have a peer group? Do you have people in your life who live a healthy lifestyle? Are there people in your life who hold you accountable to your goals, who hold you to your highest potential? If not, you could have all the other factors right, but we will always go back to that image, that identity. And because we're social creatures, we want to fit in with the people that we hang out with. I love this quote: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This comes to money, it comes to mindset, it comes to energy. Who's noticed when you hang out with depressed, moody, snappy people that your energy starts to change, your emotion starts to change? But when you hang out with high energy, positive, motivating people, you become like that. So supportive peer group is so important. Next, expertise. Are you following expert advice, or are you just grabbing it off the internet? Where do you get your information from? Where you get your information from, do they have proven results in the long term? Are you following the advice of people who walk the talk? I mean, there's people who have a whole lot of knowledge, but are they actually living the lifestyle? Are they actually keeping themselves fit, eating right? And is the research that you do, is it based on facts and results and ongoing effectiveness? I mean, I base effectiveness as results. It doesn't give results long term. That's my measure. So are you following expert systems for something as valuable as your body? So some good questions to ask yourself when you're seeking advice: what are their credentials? What's their experience? Or you're just reading some random person's blog and taking it as true? Does their reasoning make sense to you? And how many people have used that method and achieved a lasting transformation? Next, analysis. I could talk about this all night, but don't worry, I won't. Really, this is a whole webinar in itself, because this is kind of the boring part, right? It's the logical, are you regularly tracking? Here's some questions that aren't very fun at this time of night, but are you regularly tracking, logging, or recording your data? Without data, how can we make changes? You can't. People say, I'm eating healthy. How do you know? I'm eating the right amount. How do you know? Are you measuring it? Are you giving and getting feedback on your performance based on your outcomes? Think about the workplace. Imagine if you said to them, oh yeah, I'm doing my job, I'm doing it fine. Do you think that they would just accept that? Or do they want to know the performance based on the outcomes? Next. Oops. Do you regularly test and measure? Do you have a system for ongoing tweaking and improvements? And do you base your changes on accurate measures? Heavy questions, I know, quite full on. These are in the quiz as well, so you can kind of ponder these a little bit more later as well. And the last one of the 10 is uniqueness. Is your current training program and nutrition plan unique to your personal preferences? That comes down to like your enjoyment, what time of day you train, your body type. Like if you should be training for your body type, you should be eating for your body type. Your personal energy rhythms. We all have different energy waves throughout the day. Like if I said to you, I want you to weight train at 5 a.m. or I want you to weight train at 9 a.m. or I want you to weight train at 10 p.m. All of you will have different feelings come up at different times, because we're all wired differently with our energy. Your learning style. I know it sounds crazy, but the way you learn. Are you auditory, visual, kinesthetic, auditory, digital? It's so important to match your training program and your nutrition plan to these things. And lastly, your personality. I've seen people try and do training programs by themselves in the gym, and they're like high energy people that need to be around other people. So it's got to match. So I've just downloaded so many factors, and I'm sure that you've been able to find yourself in at least some of them. I'd love you to just pop in the chat box where of those 10 areas, what's the one that you think you need the most, to put the most attention on? What's the one thing out of those 10 that you really want to focus on? Is it your nutrition, your exercise, your psychology, your lifestyle, emotions, hormones, support, expertise? Is it analysis, or is it uniqueness? What is it for you? Just say psychology. Thanks, Jess. What is it for you? Type it in the box. Would love to hear. I've got some great goals sitting there. It's great to see everything that you're going for. Exercise for Sandra. Thanks for sharing. Pop your answer in the box there. And I'm just going to sum up. So in summary, your image, identity, and inspiration are the three main things that will change everything for you. Weight loss is not about one thing. It's about a synergy of all the different parts. And identifying exactly what is between us and our goal is usually not obvious and conscious to us. We need to dig deep. We need to go below the surface and ask ourselves these hard questions and really ponder them and spend time on them. So what I'm going to do now is just go through an offer that I'd like to make to you for those of you who would like something to help you lose fat and fit your clothes better. If you'd like a unique approach to weight loss and health that incorporates all 10 of those elements. And if you'd like a proven formula that's worked for hundreds of other people, this is my work over the last 14 years. I've distilled it into a program. It's similar to most of the other programs that I've done, but I just keep refining and getting them better and better and better. So if you'd like ongoing support and guidance to achieve your goals, if you'd like to learn more about how to use your mind, how to create a healthy relationship with food, with exercise, and with yourself, and if you'd also like to be with a positive supportive group, like if you don't have that support group and you'd like to be with a supportive group of women, this is for you. This is perfect for you. So it's called the Body Transformation Kickstarter. I can see there's actually quite a few of you on here that have done my Body Transformation Accelerator program. This one is similar to the Body Transformation Accelerator, but what it is it's the first 12 weeks. So it's the kickstart, and it takes you through. What you get is the Mind Body Freedom program, which is a small group online coaching webinar where I go through a lot of the mind and body content, and also an opportunity to get personally coached on that call. So that goes for 12 weeks. So this is the Body Transformation Kickstarter. What you get is the Mind Body Freedom program. You'll also get the Body Transformation Makeover online course. So this is a 12-week online course. You get emails every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I'm always in your inbox, and it covers nutrition, mindset, and exercise. So you get workouts, you get home workouts, you get cardio workouts, you get resistance training. Whatever you need is updated all the time. You get snack and meal ideas, travel nutrition tips, shopping lists, everything. There's 36 different downloadables on this course. It's taking me a long time to put together. So there's some really good stuff on there. You also get email support from me, and I answer you within 1 or 2 business days, usually the same day. And I give you personal recommendations. So the people that have done the 12 weeks program with me, typically the email support, they've said it's just having you to answer my questions quickly and having that personalized advice, because there's so much information on the internet obviously, but having someone personally give you what you need. As you can see, there's so much to work on, but I'm able to quickly and easily identify the best thing for you to work on. So that's invaluable. You also get some bonuses. Of course, I'm going to throw in some bonuses. You can choose either 4 weeks of personalized training programs, as many as you need for that first month, or a fully personalized nutrition plan. So usually most people need some personalized, some unique advice when it comes to training and nutrition. So I'm including one of those for you. And you'll also get access to a VIP private access online support group. There's only a small group of people that support each other, and you're able to access that and ask questions anytime. I'll always be on there to answer your questions. Plus, you get access to the Get Results Vault. So this is the vault that I've created over the last, well, it's a bit over 10 years. It's just things that I've put together. It's got shopping lists, it's got food lists, it's got workouts, nutrition articles, it's got 3 of my ebooks and a whole heap of cheat sheets and templates and logs. There's all sorts of cool stuff in there. So you get that access straight away. Those are the 3 ebooks that I've got in there, so you've got access to those. You can download them and keep them. You get the 40 Get Results recipe book, so that's got a whole heap of healthy, yummy, satisfying recipes. So this really suits you if you want to save time and get results by working with an expert, and also receive that support to ask questions. If you really want to understand what's holding you back, you've got a bit of insight tonight, but there's so much more that I can help you with. If you really want to get results permanently, this is for you. So just quickly, a few people that I've worked with. Sunny just finished with me 2 weeks ago. She did this over the festive season. She started in November, and she lost consistently nearly a kilo every week, even over Christmas and New Year's, which was fantastic. But it's because I was emailing her all the time, giving her advice. She had her mother-in-law coming to stay and bringing her all this food, and we just brainstormed and we troubleshooted and we just worked together. And she worked hard, and yeah, it was an amazing transformation, and she's still going. So she's incredible. But these are typical results you can get in 12 weeks. Samira, she lost 7 kilos. She's an online client as well. Susie lost 10 kilos in 3 months, and this is 6 years ago. She's kept that result. So I think that's fantastic. It's not just about a quick fix. So there's some people that have, just sent through thanking me, telling me their results, and it's just awesome because I know this has really changed people's lives, and I'd love this to be you as well. I'll just flick through those. So basically what it is a 12-week program. There's only 8 spaces, and I'm launching it on this webinar. So of course I've got a webinar special. I always do specials on the webinar that you can't get at any other time. This is not on my website. If you go into my website, you'll just see the full prices. But this particular program is not even on my website. It's only for people who have registered for this webinar. So you can get started for $97 deposit, and then it's 10 weekly payments of $37. So it's really easy to do. You just fill out a quick form and it's done, and you'll get all your emails ready to go. I can get you started on Monday, next Monday. Or you can just do a lump sum of $397, which saves you $70. So there's 2 different options there. It'll really just help you speed up your progress. I thought this was a really funny picture, so I just wanted to put that up because I thought it was hilarious. If you've been in one of those tuk-tuks in Thailand, you'll know what I mean. So if you want to join me on this program, I'd love to work with you. I'd love to help you get the result that you want, finally lose weight and keep it off, and be one of these people that have kept their results. And I know that you can do it. I know that I can help you. I've helped every single scenario that I can possibly imagine. So you're not a special, different case. You're special and unique, and totally, no one else is like you. But that's why I think it's great to work together, as to make it as personal as possible. So that's everything you get. The value is over $1,200. You're getting it for only 1/3 of the price, and it's only for this launch offer. It's not going to be available after that. So if you want to get started, just go to my website, katmillar.com/BTK. So it's katmillar.com/BTK. It'll never be cheaper than that. It's the lowest price. It's basically 1/3. If you want to join me, you can just go there right now and get started. It's really quick. For those of you that that have stayed on, thank you so much. I want to give you that bonus that I talked to you about, which is the Transform quiz. So all you need to do to get that bonus and get that quiz where it's 50 questions, and you'll be able to really go through and unpack each of these areas, each of these 10 areas, just email me, info@katmillar.com. That's KATMILLAR.com, and just put in the subject line Transform quiz, and I'll get that over to you. So I want to take some questions now. We've got about 5 minutes left. So if you want to ask a question, just pop your question in the group chat box. If you want to ask privately, you can just privately ask the question in the chat box, or I can unmute you and we can just have a quick chat. So if anything's been kind of going through your mind while I've been talking, and you've had some questions about something that's popped into your mind while I've been talking through everything, just pop it in the chat box now, and I can give you some coaching right now, because let's sort it out now rather than you going away and thinking about it and getting distracted and doing other things. I'd really like to help you with it right now. So I'll just bring up the chat box. So don't be shy. I'm sure if you've got a question, other people will be thinking a similar thing. And if I can help you, then I can probably help everyone else at the same time. Anything that I've covered or anything else when it comes to weight loss, what would you like to know? I know that you're here. You're still online for a reason. You've probably still got things unanswered. So go ahead. Don't be shy. Everyone's quiet. Are you tired? It has been a very, very hot day. Most of you are in Sydney. It's been like one of the hottest days ever. Well, I can't see anyone's questions, but it looks like you're waiting for other people to ask them. All right. Well, I would like to know one thing that you got out of this webinar. One thing that you got out of it. One thing that it got you thinking about. Just pop that in the group chat. What is the one thing that you got out of this webinar that could make the most difference, or the one area that you think will change? What are you actually going to do differently? Okay, Alison says, what are the 5 most important hormones? I don't think, to be honest, I probably worded that wrong. I don't think they're the most important. They're just the ones that I personally work with my clients with, and they are ghrelin, leptin, cortisol, estrogen, and insulin. So all hormones work together. All hormones affect other hormones, but those are the 5 that I focus on. Particularly, well, actually they're all very important, but insulin, if you have too much insulin in your blood, you won't lose weight, because your body will continuously be drawing from the insulin instead of your body fat. And cortisol is another one, which is most of the lifestyle factors I've put in there, those questions, because of cortisol. So if you're having too much caffeine, not enough sleep, too much stress, not enough fun, then your cortisol is going to be high. You're going to store more fat particularly around your middle, around your tummy, and around your womanly areas. So yeah, there's a whole heap of things I can go into deep with hormones. I might actually do a whole webinar on emotions, hormones, and like the woman side of weight loss, because about probably 90% of my clients are women. So it's really important to understand women's hormones. But yeah, leptin and ghrelin important because there are hunger and appetite hormones. So understanding what switches them on and off and how they can actually become resistant is really important as well. Thank you, Jess, for sharing. Weight loss is so much more than diet and exercise. Isn't it crazy how much there is to it? And it's not just understanding that mindset's important. It's how does that drive our decisions around diet and exercise, because the diet and exercise are the main things that are going to shift the weight, but it's actually what's going to make us do it. You know, we know what to do. What's actually going to be that thing that's going to help us to do it easily and effortlessly. And simply, it's not easy to lose weight, but it can be simple, it can be fun, and there's ways of making it exciting and enjoyable. Honestly, I know that often when we think of losing weight, we think, oh, things I've got to give up, but it doesn't have to be that way. Some of the things that people say to me is they couldn't believe how much they enjoyed the process, how much they enjoyed the result of just working through these things. It's so fulfilling, rewarding, satisfying. It's not about giving up things. It's about what you gain. It's about what you get. So, yeah, it's really cool. Claire says, I worry that the exercise program might not be doable given my dodgy ankle. Can the program be tailored for the exercise that I'm capable of, given I was never meant to even walk properly? Wow, that is incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is about the uniqueness. Everything I've talked about tonight comes down to you as an individual, about personalizing it for you. So everything I do, I don't like just giving generic things out. I'm all about the relationship that I have with you, the personal, unique set of factors that come into programming. I spent hours on my programming. I personally design everything because it has to be. Otherwise, you could just go to the internet and get any old program. So that's the difference. When you invest in expertise, when you invest in yourself, it has to be personalized. So absolutely, Claire, I would love to write you a program that's tailored for the exercises that you're capable of doing. And over that period, we can go back and forth, and I'll keep tweaking it if there's anything that needs tweaking. That's part of having a relationship with who you're working with. It's not just, here's your program, go do it, that's it. So absolutely, no problem. The 3 eyes. Awesome, Alison. That's so cool. Yeah, isn't it crazy? Those 3 eyes, that came from just so much soul searching. Like, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it that makes successful people succeed? Why have some people been able to do it so effortlessly and keep the weight off? Why? And I really started to kind of reverse engineer the process that I went through when I lost weight. And thanks for joining us, Claire. And I really realized that that's what it was. It was the way I saw myself. And so it wasn't until I studied NLP years later that I realized that's what I was actually doing. But yeah, really powerful stuff. So I'm going to let you guys go do whatever you need to do. I just want to thank you so much for joining me, for sticking around. I hope you got a lot out of it. I really sincerely appreciate and respect you for investing your time into attending. I know that there's a lot of people probably watching TV right now, mucking around on Facebook. You've actually invested in your learning. So I want to really encourage you to continue to dive deep in these questions and to do some soul searching. And if you are able to join me on the program, I would love to work with you. I know that together would be an incredible team. And so if you do want to join us, jump onto that website after this webinar. And otherwise, I just wish you all the best, all the happiness, freedom, fulfillment, and well-being in the world. So thank you so much, and I'll see you later.